Always fun to catch up with Gary Hess, Virginia News Network, 910 in Richmond, a lot of other. Just Google him. Google Gary Hess. It'll be worth the time. Gary also serves with Robert Fish as the voices of the Virginia High School League State Basketball Championships in March. Always fun to catch up with Gary and Robert for that week. I was joined by Gary Hess to talk about a lot of topics. We talk British Open golf. We talk Virginia Tech and UVA football. We talk Penn State. We talk high school football. Practice got underway on Monday around the Commonwealth. It's Gary Hess on the Sports Buffet podcast.
I feel like it's Christmas in July for me because I'm getting to talk to Gary Hess. He's the outstanding sports director and just Richmond legend, I think is the better term, because you wear so many hats. You're kind of like one of those old racks that you would put the hat and coat on and had like 5 or 6 pegs. You've got so many titles.
Yeah, I don't know if I should be honored or offended. You just used the word legend and old in the same sentence, and you're talking about me. I don't know, man.
I did use the word rack. I did use the word rack, too, so.
Well, there you have it. So, anyway, it's great to be with you again, as always, and always look forward to chit-chatting about what's on Bob's mind.
Well, we've got a potpourri of topics today, and let's start with the Olympics. I personally don't get Olympic fever until the badminton starts, but what about you?
I like the table tennis, which I love that they call it table tennis because it looks a lot like ping pong to me. Yeah, I enjoy the Olympics. My wife really enjoys watching the Olympics, so after the opening ceremonies, my wife hangs on every second of the opening ceremonies. I can't watch the opening ceremonies. It's just ridiculous, but I enjoy the Olympics. I'm glad it's only once every 4 years, but I enjoy the Olympics.
What sport do you like the best? Because it seems like, I don't think a lot of people really get into basketball because, let's be honest, we should win every game by about 20 anyway.
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. Women's beach volleyball is my favorite. I'm not going to lie.
It is appealing on many levels, but
it is appealing on many levels. And, over and above the eye candy of women's beach volleyball and then the regular volleyball, very fun to watch. I enjoy it immensely. And then I like... I enjoy the swimming. I enjoy some parts of the track and field, not all of it. That off the top of my head, those are the ones that jump out.
Yeah, 2 more weeks.
I do find it interesting, Bob. I don't know about you, but watched actually like 5 minutes of the team archery gold medal match on Saturday, and I'm like, only in the Olympics would I actually watch someone shoot bows and arrows.
I have it on my DVR. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but pretty soon I'm gonna tackle that. Let's talk a little bit about golf, which I think could actually. Why is golf not an Olympic sport? First off,
well, it will be in 4 years.
It should have been all the time. We haven't.
Probably should have been. If tennis is, golf certainly should be.
Right. We have enough different countries that we can represent, for heaven's sakes.
Yes, golf will make its debut in 2016.
And baseball will still just sit on the sidelines, but that's for another time. What do you think
baseball and softball. Women's softball not being in the Olympics is befuddling to me. Maybe because my daughter was a softball player and I'm partial, but the fact that softball got knocked out is just befuddling to me.
Well, how dare...
Especially when there's still something in there called team handball, which is thoroughly confusing.
How dare we question the good folks at the IOC, though, because they never get anything wrong.
Of course, they never do anything questionable.
Absolutely not. Of course not. Corruption in the Olympics, no. You do host the golf hour over there in Richmond. What did you think of the British Open, which happened a couple weeks back?
I thought the British Open was great theater. I thought it was, sadly for Adam Scott, one of the great, memorable choke jobs that I've ever seen. We had a lively debate this past week on our local golf show here about whether or not it was worse than Vandevelde, which I don't think so. I think we have a 3-shot lead with 1 hole to go, and you can put irons in your hand and make double bogey and still win. That's worse than 4 straight bogeys. Trey started rolling downhill, and I feel bad for Adam Scott, but take nothing away from Ernie Els. The front page of the leaderboard was full of 73s and 75s on Sunday, and Els shot 68. And to win a major in 3 different decades is pretty impressive. The names at the top of the leaderboard, the fact that Tiger was in contention, and Els was there, and Adam Scott, and Graham McDowell, who's one of the great grinders of the elite players, and the possibility of Steve Williams, of Adam Scott, and Tiger being in the last group together on Sunday. There was a lot of great theater surrounding the British Open. I enjoyed it a lot.
Was Ernie being nice at the end when he said Adam Scott's going to win a couple majors, or do you think that's true?
Well, I think he may believe that because he's friends with Adam, and it may be wishful thinking, but, we'll see. I mean, Adam's 32 now, and, that doesn't mean he's old by any stretch, but, you look at all these young players coming along, and, I don't know. I think Adam Scott might have a major in him, but I think it's going to take him a while to bounce back from this one.
You mentioned on Twitter some football talk, and that's going to happen, so let's get into it right now. Would it have been better off for Penn State to get the SMU treatment?
Yes, I'm not going to take credit for it. The morning show host here in town, where I do sports, WRBA, called it and said instead of the death penalty, they got the slow death penalty.
Yeah.
Which is, I believe that to be true. When you take what the Big Ten piled on with the additional scholarship production, they're basically saying you're not going to be relevant in football for a decade. I think you could have come back quicker from an SMU-style one-year complete shutdown. I really do. But I am glad. I will say one thing. I'm glad they gave O'Brien, the new coach, a 4-year contract extension. Because he, by all means, should have gotten 1 year for every year that they can't go to a bowl game. And so the fact that he's got job security for 8 years is going to give him a chance to kind of build up from scratch, because it's what he's going to have to do. And it's going to be interesting to see how many players end up leaving the program.
I don't know if you heard Brent Musburger's take on this. Basically, he said, what Jerry Sandusky did is a courts thing, and really, I may be paraphrasing a little bit, but the football team didn't deserve as much of a penalty because this was not the players and everybody like that didn't have anything to do with this. I see that both ways. Go ahead.
Bob, I completely disagree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for penalizing the kid.
Right.
But you had to penalize the football program, and not because of what Jerry Sandusky did, but because of what the people in leadership, led by Joe Paterno and the athletic director and the football people did. And that is, by all accounts, a string of reactions and a string of decisions that reflected a clear, misguided approach of putting the good of the football program ahead of what was good, what was true, what was right, and what was best for the victims of what Jerry Sandusky did. When you have people in leadership putting the football program on that kind of pedestal and making those kind of decisions, there has to be some manner of punitive move against that football program.
Has anybody's reputation been tarnished as much as in the history of sports as much as Joe Paterno's is now?
Wow, I have to think about that. Wow.
I mean, I can't think of one off the top of my head either, to be honest.
Probably not. I mean, Tiger Woods' reputation went a long way south. I would say some of the baseballs, some of the steroid guys, like the Mark McGuire's and the Barry Bonds, there was a lot of suspicion all along. But some of the guys that maybe weren't as suspected, theirs went. But to go from where Joe Paterno went to where he is now, I don't think so. I think it's pretty unprecedented.
Yeah, because, I mean, to me, a situation that I think of, which is, maybe, I don't want to say just as disgusting because I hate to compare this situation to anything, but, when Dave Bliss was at Baylor and they kind of tried to cover up the murder of Patrick Dennehy, that was one thing,
right.
But Dave Bliss did not have the clout that...
I will tell you, the one athlete the one that I might put in the same category with how far Joe Paterno's reputation has fallen would be O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
I would say O.J. Simpson might go into that category. Because he goes from Heisman winner, one of the great rushers of all time, to being what he's become. So I would say that's the only athlete where I can think of that I'd put in the same breath with what's happened to Joe Paterno.
And I mean, it's incredibly sad on so many different levels, this whole thing, in my opinion.
It is horrifying. And you know what? It is alarmingly prevalent. The sad thing is not a proper light gets shined on it, but there are a lot of Jerry Sandusky's out there.
Right.
And, if this cautionary tale helps shine a light on it and get more Jerry Sandusky off Jerry Sandusky types off the street and can help alleviate this epidemic, then that's the only silver lining that can come out of all this.
Let's talk about on-field stuff, particularly.
By the way, Bob, real quick.
Absolutely.
One of the notes that is that can be easily forgotten is that UVA very nearly hired Jerry Sandusky in 1999.
Yeah, and Al Groh doesn't look so bad, and I don't mean to make a joke about that.
It takes some doing to make Al Groh not look so bad.
It takes a lot of doing, but I think they got it right. Speaking of Mr. Jefferson's University, Philip Sims, how much of an impact can he have for the Hoos this year?
I think it'll be interesting. It depends on how quickly he learns the offense, but I called one game when he was in high school, but it was in the monsoon, so I never really got to see his talents on display. But, the physical gifts and what Mike London seems to be able to bring out of kids, I think Philip Sims is going to get the keys to the candy store sooner than later. I think we all pretty much agree to that. But I think he could have a great impact. I think he could do very well. But nothing's guaranteed. You just never know till you see it happen. That's the glory of football.
Is this going to, I take it you don't think this is going to be a Watford-Rocco situation where they're splitting snaps. You think that Sims is going to get pretty much the lion's share of the carry?
I think maybe at first, and Rocco deserves a fair shake. He's the incumbent starter. But I think when push comes to shove, you got to do what's best for your football team, and I believe, by mid-season, it's going to be the Philip Sims show.
How much better is UVA this year, in your opinion?
Oh, I'm not sure they're better at all. I mean, Philip Sims makes them better, and of course they're going to have the running back situation they had last year, and the offensive line's good. And so if they stay true to their MO on offense, they should be solid. But I think there's some question marks at receiver. They have some really talented guys at receiver, but they don't have the consistency that they had with Chris Bird and company last year. So I think that's a question. And I think there are huge questions on defense, especially in the untested secondary. I think that they are going to, have a harder time stopping people than they did last year. And so I'm not convinced that they're going to be better at all. But I think that, having said that, I think they'll be solid. But to say Virginia's going to be better, period, I think is a dangerous statement to make when you consider holes at receiver and questions on defense.
Moving down the road to Blacksburg with the Hokies, Logan Thomas sent out a tweet a few weeks back of, it's time for the offense to step up and take a little bit more of ownership rather than the defense and special teams. How good does the offense need to be for Tech to maybe take it to a higher level than what they have been the past year and past few years?
Well, the offense needs to produce, but, it's very interesting because Logan Thomas is a star. I think he is, I was surprised that, Sammy Watkins got preseason ACC Player of the Year, and Taj Boyd beat him out for first-team quarterback. I think Logan Thomas is clearly the first-team quarterback in the ACC. I think he's that good and has that much ability. But, some of these, it's the same question, some of the same questions at Tech at UVA, and that is untested receivers, Marcus Davis and DJ Coles, and some of those guys need to step up into roles as the main guys after, Tech fans have been spoiled by incredible consistency the last few years of receiver. These untested running backs have to step in and prove to be up to the task. And then the offensive line's really got to step up. So there's tons of questions. But you know what? The most important position on the offense, Tech's got that one figured out. And Logan Thomas is going to make sure the offense carries its load. I think Tech's in for a very, very special season.
How comparable do you think he is to Cam Newton? Because I know people have thrown that out before.
I hate the comparison game. Logan Thomas is, I'm not sure. That's a hard question, Bob. I don't like the comparison game. I think he is Cam Newton-ish, but I'm not sure he's the runner that Cam Newton is, and I'm not sure he's the passer that Cam Newton is. And that's not denigrating Logan Thomas. Cam Newton was the number one pick in the draft.
Right.
And, Logan Thomas can be a first-round pick, and, being almost as good a passer and almost as good a runner as Cam Newton will give you a fine NFL career. So, and it remains to be seen. We'll see how he develops. But Logan Thomas is big, but Cam Newton looks like a linebacker. So I'm not exactly sure if that is an apt comparison. Just let the man be Logan Thomas. That's what I say.
Could you see him having any hardware at the end of the year? I'm not necessarily talking about the Heisman, but any of the postseason awards for even quarterbacks.
Oh, I like him. I like his chances to be ACC Player of the Year. I really do. Or certainly Offensive Player of the Year. We'll see. The kid at Florida State, Manuel, the Virginia Beach kid, and Boyd and Logan Thomas should have played a nice little battle to be the top quarterback in the league. And I think, I like Tech's schedule. I like them in the ACC. It'll be interesting. The Hokies are a threat seemingly every year, and I think this year's no different. I think they could go a long way.
How about the hometown team, the Richmond Spiders?
Spiders are going to have a long year. I think Danny Rocco's doing some good things here, but it's not going to happen overnight. I think they're going to have some challenges, and they're looking like a mid to lower middle pack team in the vaunted CAA, or at the FCS level. The CAA is the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I'm saying.
Right.
And so Towson is great, and Delaware and JMU, and some of these, and Old Dominion in its last year in the CAA is going to be just really tough. So Richmond's is going to be pedaling uphill a little bit. So, but you know all about Danny Rocco from his time there in Lynchburg, and
right.
He, I believe Danny's the goods, and I believe he'll have Richmond where the Spiders need to be, but I don't think it's going to happen this year.
Final question for you, Gary. As always, we appreciate your time. High school football practices got underway on Monday. What are the stories that we should look for out of the Richmond area this year, in your opinion?
Well, I think one of the first things is Hermitage, which has been a state power the last few years, has a highly recruited national-level running back in Derek Green, and gets to open against Fort Union in the doubleheader down at Oscar Smith on Saturday, August 25th on national TV on ESPN. That's a cool thing for a Central Region team. And then, after that, it's in the Richmond area. It's kind of interesting. It's the usual suspects when it comes to high school football. We look for the same teams to be good year in, year out, and this year is not going to be any exception to that.
Well, Gary, I've got to let you go. I just saw that the Swedish rowing team is getting ready to compete in the Olympics, and I can't miss it.
Oh, I am so excited. I downloaded the Olympic results app on my phone, and I'm driving my wife crazy by saying, hey, I know who won this event. Yeah. Hey, guess who won this event? I'm getting ready to watch the swimming. Oh, I'm so excited about this one. Don't worry, she finished fourth.
It's real confusing because I was at my parents' house the other night, and there was one of the swimming relays, and I'm like, wait a minute. Didn't they already have this event? I think I know who won, but then, I just figure it's my old age and lack of hair, Gary, that's catching up to me.
There you go. So, hey, listen, man, enjoy the advent of football season and the Olympics, and cool. It's a great time to be a sports fan, isn't it?
We will talk very soon. As always, appreciate your time.
Take care, Bobby. Always a pleasure to be part of the Sports Buffet.